We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the December 17, 2018 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair. Joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Bueller. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Commissioner Bob Archer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, if we could begin with our first item.
Our first item is item 2, unfinished business. Number 1, consider approval of Resolution 2018-68, authorizing a conditional use permit to establish a reception, conference, and assembly facility on property located at 7711 Southwest 61st Street in Auburn Township.
After meeting with the county councilor, the first step would be to ask if there's been any ex parte communication with the commissioners.
The emails I've received, I think we've all received. I did have a conversation with Barry Feeker, Christy McKenzie, and I think that's it.
I've only had emails.
I've only had emails also, Mr. Chair.
Okay. At this time, then, I would make a motion to open a public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. At this time, I know there's a number of people here. Many of you were here a week ago when we took this, or two weeks ago, when we took this matter up originally. I would ask that if there is any new information that you wish to share, that if you've already spoke once before and you have had your thoughts made, but if there's any additional or new comments, if you've not had an opportunity to speak, allow you that opportunity now. Come on up and then state your name so that the clerk can record it.
My name is Linnell Griffith, and I've known the Boyds for some time, and I spoke with them before they bought the property. Their intent has always been to use it to share and to use it for the improvement of the community. And that has been their heart. They're very sharing, giving people. Better yet, they want to do it in such a way that it's self-funding, so that more good doers, if you will, and ministries can use it without having to raise money. I think that's a very commendable thing. I think we're all smart people and should be able to come up with some sort of solution that we can improve our community by use of their property, which they have, from the get-go, been so willing to share.
Thank you. Any other new comments?
Yeah, thank you. I'm Andy Vogel, work with Young Life here in Topeka. We're a ministry built around outreach and mentorship of youth in this community. Based off of what we do with mentorship, everything we do is built around relationships. As we train new leaders, we talk through 3 pillars. See, talk, to be seen, importance of adults in our community to be seen and form familiarity. Talk, to have conversation, to know names. But the third part's the most important part for us is to do. The aspect of how mentor relationships are grown and fostered in how experiences create a platform for relationships. I think about that in my own relationships I've had with mentors. As I remember some of the wisdom they've shared, I remember a lot of what been blessed to be able to do with them. We've been able to utilize the 61st Street property, the Boyd Street property, to help create a platform for these same aspect of experiences to form relationships. I was sitting last week in a group of community leaders talking about some issues that our adolescents face, dealing with truancy and homework completion. As the solutions were raised up, the number one thing that surfaced was mentorship. And as we walked further down that road, what we realized was that in our community we have a scarcity of places for these experiences to be formed. And they were from school district members to community officers that were going, we need to be able to form these type of places. As I mentioned, this has been a place where we've been able to utilize from the gym, from The barn, even as of this week, receiving several text messages from old college guys of going, hey, is the gym going to be open? Knowing that what happens often in that gym is conversations, celebrating life, but also looking at hard roads that they traveled across the way. So yeah, we have been blessed by the Boyd property and how it's been able to help foster mentor relationships with us within Young Life. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other new comments?
I'm Patty Brockman. I want to reiterate that this is a neighborhood that is going to be, with the proposal, juxtaposed to a semi-campground. We have heard over and over again how many different organizations are interested in using this land. But what needs to be understood is one organization can come in, use the land, and then go home. Another organization can come in, use the land, and then go home. What doesn't happen to the people who live there is that they don't go home somewhere else. They are there, and for every activity, they will be there. In the Boyd's initial proposal, one of the things they are saying is projected future uses to include urban ministries such as High Crest, more frequent summer camps, providing space for church to run ministry events, and possibly build sleeping quarters. The initial proposal is a 24/7. They can come, have a campground, and then after they've used the campground, go home. But the people who are in our residential area will be there for every one of those events. There will be no escape. And if the door is opened, we talked about Pandora's box last meeting. If the door is open, there will be no closing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I speak in favor?
You can speak in favor or opposed if you have not had the opportunity to comment before.
I have, although I did send you a letter a couple days ago. Jim Congdon, Topeka Bible Church, been down at just next to the public library for about 40 years. So we know a lot about Benevolent. We know a lot about the neighborhood. We're in an important neighborhood, the Elmhurst neighborhood. So we've had to deal with them and enjoyed dealing with them and are thrilled that because we've kept our promises over the years, we're really good friends with them and they love us, even though we've been a growing church and so forth. So I'm just speaking here on behalf of the character of Brian and Chris Boyd and what I think they want to do, and I would just say that they're honest people. I trust them. I am concerned, as I think they are, about the neighborhood and about Benevolent. I would say their interests are certainly not pecuniary, but are benevolent. I mean, they're not out to make more money, but they're really out to serve people. And we're all about serving people at Topeka Bible Church, so that's why I give it a thumbs up. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Martha Bartlett Pyland, and I live at 6316 Southwest Bayshore Drive, so I'm one of the neighbors. I did speak last time, but I wanted to bring up one extra point. I know you have seen several emails from me and from a lot of the neighbors. One more thing I would like to bring up that was not mentioned last meeting was that though the Boyds talked about where they would like to hold their activities on that property, in an effort to not disturb the neighbors, if the petition is granted, they can have their activities anywhere on the property, even right up to the edge and right up to some of our backyards. And I think that's a big concern. The other thing I would like to do is, I know not everyone will have a chance to speak, but I'd like to ask the neighbors who are opposed to please just stand up so that the commissioners can see that you're here.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak this morning? This time, I'm going to let Mr. Boyd, I'm going to let you have the final say before we take any other action.
Brian and Carissa Boyd, my wife, were the owners of the property, and Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I appreciate y'all's service. You have a big weight on your shoulders to ensure the fairness and smoothness of this whole process. Thank y'all. You know, at our last public hearing, as well as this one, you've heard from several people from various ministries and community outreaches and pastors and so forth. But they represent thousands of people whose lives have been enriched in this community, even since we've owned the property the last 4 years.
And I guess I also just want to stress that all of these events, you know, they've occurred already. I mean, just like Andy Vogel said with Young Life, I mean, they call and ask if the gym's open. It's not, I mean, right now we're not really proposing new events or anything that hasn't even happened. But I'll let you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not really proposing to do anything new or different than we've not done all along the last 4 years. Our proposal simply is this, to charge maybe for about a wedding a month to make this a self-sustaining property. We've already done that, but we've not charged for anything. So this is just in order to preserve the farm in this agricultural native state and make it self-sustaining. Prior to doing all this, even before we went to the planning committee, in the early stages we sought wise counsel, and we sought this plan. This was not of ourselves. This is how we best thought this could be a self-sustaining process, and we've sought due diligence with the neighbors. We've gone door to door with them and had town hall meetings even prior to even going to the planning commission. We've tried to mitigate their concerns all along the way before even coming to you with this or the planning committee. With our prior activities over the last 4 years, there's never been any neighbor concerns, and again, we're not proposing anything new or different. And there's never been any alteration of property values or any demonstrable impact to the neighbors. I really feel like there is quite a fear of the unknown here, in which our imaginations can kind of run wild and kind of cloud our perception of reality. There were no concerns created until this conditional use permit was sought. We don't foresee any of those concerns coming to fruition. And I think if there ever were any, I think the amount of good that has come and will become of this property will far outweigh any concerns. I will personally mitigate those myself, but I don't think there ever will be going forward. And lastly, you know, just the Planning Commission approved. This is consistent. They thought our proposal was consistent with the character of the neighborhood, and that we can coexist with the neighboring properties.
Yeah, and I just also like to, I mean, there's been 2 large events since our last meeting, and I mean, nobody came up to speak on how they bothered them. And I promise, we don't plan on having, I mean, the way the property is laid out, it's not such that their border is conducive to use. I mean, I know that's a fear, but really everything is more readily usable close to the barn. I just don't see hauling people on 4-wheelers to the other side of the property. Yeah, if it's approved, we hope that you continue to hear nothing from us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I speak on behalf of the Boyds? I'm the civil engineer, Dan Holloway, that they hired to look at the property.
I think that we heard from you last time.
Yeah.
Is there anything new?
I was just going to represent them. They wanted me to speak just to summarize the overall.
Well, I mean, is there anything additional that you would have to say that they haven't said?
No, I was just going to summarize the process very quickly for you guys, maybe to help.
That's fine.
Okay. I was just going to say, you know, the concerns that have been brought up have been addressed. The noise has been addressed, you know, as far as the speakers and the decibels on the amplifiers. Lighting's been addressed. They're not planning any lighting, but with LED lights, it's really not a big deal. We can direct light where we need to. Traffic's been addressed and access to the property, you know, traffic to the events. You know, the Planning Commission limited the amount of events, so the frequency they felt comfortable with, and they gave their professional approval to this, and the Boyds worked with the staff as well as us to, you know, make sure it was something that's typical in the county in this area. There's been other approvals for wedding and outdoor events in the county, and this is similar to that. So I just want to summarize that overall, and they've addressed the concerns, and there's really not any concerns that the Boyds haven't addressed with their proposal. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. Is there any questions we can ask?
I don't have any.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. This time, then, I would make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook and second by Commissioner Archer to close the public hearing. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Pleasure of the Commissioner or the thoughts of the Commissioners? Commissioner Archer.
Difficult decision for me personally, but I have studied the golden factors in relation to this CUP request, and I will vote no on the CUP application. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Bueller.
I too, this has been a tough decision. The work that the Boyds do is admirable. But the character of the neighborhood is also important. You know, when there are 17 conditions on a conditional use permit, that causes me to pause. Is this the best use for this land? So I too will be voting no.
As the other two commissioners have outlined, I also will be voting no. My decision is based on the character of the neighborhood, the use of the neighborhood, and how this will affect the character of the neighborhood, as well as the extent with the change would detrimentally affect the other neighbors around the property. And as there was a protest petition filed, it does require a unanimous decision of the commission to approve. In this case, you have 3 commissioners who have all indicated their indication to deny the conditional use permit. And so, Commissioner Archer, is that then a motion to deny the conditional use application?
Yes, it is, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And then I would ask that we also direct that the county commission, or the county councilor, adopt or prepare a resolution denying that application. Is that acceptable to your motion?
Yes.
I'll second.
So motion made then by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor of denying the conditional use permit, say aye. All opposed? Passes unanimously, 3-0, denying the conditional use permit. Before we leave, I do want to state to the Boyds, this does not necessarily change your present use of your property, in that if you wish to have, there's nothing in our rules that allow or deny you to invite guests to your property. It only affects as if you were charging fees for the use of your property. So to that degree, you could continue to use the property in the condition that you are. It also does not deny you the ability to, if you wish to review your application with the Planning Commission to determine if there might be a way to better fit within the character of the neighborhood or the other golden factors, you can take that up with the Planning Commission. So, anything else additional, Commissioners?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, our next item.
We may give everybody an opportunity to leave.
Unless you'd like to stay.
Yeah. It won't get any more exciting, though, I will tell you that.
What's the difference? Interesting. Aren't you Here. I'm a lawyer. I get to represent both sides.
You're a lawyer?
I've heard that.
All right. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There are 2 items on the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Vouchers are totaling $1,840,914.84. Under special tax, we have $440,546.53. That is for Bettis Asphalt for the Sherwood Improvement District. Also under building and maintenance, $34,155 is for carpet at Manor Conference Center. I have no questions. I'll move approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval of correction orders.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A3, consider authorization and execution of contract C416-2018 with Willis of Greater Kansas, Inc. for the 2019 insurance coverage, including property, commercial equipment and crime, boiler and machinery, automobiles, above-ground storage tanks, and excess work compensation. Commissioners, this is our annual review of the proposal for the new property insurance. And I have Jan Mason and Brian Haston here from Willis. Brian will be talking about our renewal, and he will also be talking to you about several, they always, they have several recommendations for other options on the insurance, additional options, and thought it was rather interesting that one of the things he's going to talk about is earthquake insurance, because we don't have it, and the front page of the paper today headline was about the issues down in Wichita. So he's going to talk a little bit about that, but he's going to talk about our coverage and where we stand with our renewals. So.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak with you regarding the property casualty renewal for 2019, which we're seeking your approval to execute on the binder of coverage. We look at the program in 2018, we marketed extensively, as we generally do about every other year. Through that process, in our pre-renewal meetings earlier this year, our indications were if we could hold the incumbent markets to a relatively under 3% rate increase, we felt that that would be competitive in the marketplace, based on our benchmarking of over 3,000 public entity companies across the country. So we have very good, strong partnerships that we're doing business with right now. Overall, the rate went up approximately 1.5%. The total premium increase is about 2.9%. Part of that is driven by increases in exposures on the properties that the county owns. And the only outlier that we had any obstacles with was the equipment floater with One Beacon, who we've done business with for several years. They sent a non-renewal out to us, so we had to go out and seek additional coverage for that. It's a very small premium percentage, overall total. So we have a higher increase on that line of coverage, and that was just based on their appetite for your risk and not wanting to write single line coverage. So we have a replacement for it, but it's at about $5,000–6,000 more than it was last year. So. If we go back to the recommendations, we always look at options to make sure that we have the most competitive program in the market, and we also look at deductible options. Our review this year did not indicate that there was enough premium savings to change deductibles to a higher level. Two of the things that we did also look at was flood and quake coverage. Right now, the county does not purchase quake coverage. We have two options for quake. One, I'm providing $1 million limit for approximate premium of $4,052. And we provided another option with a $5 million limit with a deductible of $10,000. And the premium on that, the premium on that is $10,000. So those were the options that we looked at on quake, and we also looked at providing a flood coverage, and the deductibles would vary depending on whether you're in floodplain or not in floodplain. The additional coverage for flood on the county properties would be $18,292. So outside of that, we're looking for your approval to go and bind the existing coverages and then determine whether or not you would like us to execute on the quake and flood coverage.
Questions for Mr. Haston?
Yes.
I don't know that we've seen any documentation that
Yes,
would...
you would have gotten, this is in your packet.
Right, I know.
Oh, yeah.
But to document whether we need the earthquake or the flood insurance.
No,
I know exactly what we got in the packet.
Yes.
All I'm asking is, what is the business justification
Yeah.
for earthquake and the flood insurance?
Yes, I would say on our seismic graphs, when we look at the county, it's a remote exposure. We feel compelled to actually offer that to you. So it's up to the county. If I look at benchmarking, I would say less businesses purchase earthquake in this marketplace.
Mr. Chair, and Madam Clerk, we have not purchased an earthquake insurance at
No,
all, correct?
no.
And this quote does not include that?
No,
does not.
these are options.
Yeah,
And
just
we-
options.
And we only have one property, that is Crestview, that's the only place that we have any flood insurance on,
floodplain.
because they've actually been
Yeah.
totally
Flooded.
flooded before.
Yeah.
But we have, with the we had the change in the FEMA map several years ago, and the only property that, is not the only, but North Annex is obviously right
Sure.
there, and they're not necessarily, I don't think they're like they're not in a dangerous floodplain, but they're obviously in a floodplain. The Expo Center, the weed department, those are all in, it's like the county, a lot of our other buildings aren't, but we do have
Sure.
some that are definitely in.
And those
some
are
flood.
included?
No, we have.
Crestview is included?
We have, the only flood insurance we have that we actually carry flood insurance on is Crestview.
Crestview, okay. No, that's what I thought.
Never, just haven't ever.
Okay.
Perhaps this might be something that we look at for the 2020 term, whether or not it would be prudent to review the amount of flood insurance that we have, where we have it designated, especially given the improvements to the Expo Center, the change in the FEMA maps. But we take that up in the 2020 term, as well as any review of whether there's justification for a earthquake insurance. But I would make a motion to approve the insurance proposal as presented today.
I'll second.
I do have one. We've been doing business with Willis for how many years as our insurance consultant?
We have been with Willis, and prior to that, it was, we've had Charlton Manley, and before that, it was Wanamaker. So with this, it's been, this company has been sold to other companies, but it's been a local broker for 50 years probably. And because they're multi-line, you're looking at the difference. The only difference
Right.
is what what they charge us for their costs, and that's all just fully disclosed.
Right, and I saw the commission schedule, and I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying that we've done business with Willis as our insurance consultant for a long time. It may be time to at least look to see what another consultant may bring us for next year.
Well, and it's going to say, and this kind of property insurance is not unlike our, Jim could agree that it's not unlike our carriers that we have for our health insurance, is they're not necessarily something that we go up for, for bid for them on a, every few years or every 10 years or every 20 years. It's more of an administrative decision to, I guess that's more because we have Willis as our benefits carrier on the health insurance side. And they have gone out for bid about 6 years ago for the TPA for our health. And so this, this will be, it's going to be a big, it's a big opportunity or a big deal to have this done.
Well, I know it is, and that's why I'm saying perhaps we should at least market or go to the market with perhaps another insurance consultant to see what we can do, because I know the market is always changing.
Yeah, I guess I would have to, I think we'd have to probably get, I don't know, I'll check into it and find out, because I'm not real sure like I said, when we did it for our health insurance, we actually had a benefits company that actually did that. I don't even know the process for how we'd go about this, so I'll get with Jim and talk with him.
This is a purchase just like any other purchase at Shawnee County, and I think it's a good idea to go see what we can do as far as an opportunity to save tax dollars. That's my only point.
Sure.
I don't know why we would do it any differently than we would issue a request for proposal. Willis would have the opportunity to bid. They are our contractor at this point. And then if there was any other insurance carriers that wish to enter the bid, but that would be something, again, maybe in the 2020 year that we look at.
And I'll get with Jim, and we'll figure out the process, because that's, like in life insurance and stuff like that. But there, we have this option, so that will work good. And if you want, as far as the flood insurance or the earthquake insurance, I could have them come back like in the middle of the year, earlier, before the actual proposal is put on next year. I could have them come back and give you an idea of what the cost would be if we went with, extending the flood insurance to more buildings, as the Expo Center and such, have something mid-year as opposed to at this time of year. Would that work?
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get that.
Okay. See all the exciting things you'll miss out on?
Well, today, the contract with Brian here today, I mean, I know that's another discussion for another meeting, but out of courtesy of who we're signing the contract with today, I think we need to move forward, and this discussion can continue, so it's warranted.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook to approve the proposal, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners.
Our next item.
Item B, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of request to add a wireless data account to existing governmental contract pricing with Verizon to provide cellular service for 6 iPads and a mobile hotspot with monthly cellular service of $40.01 per iPad and hotspot for a total of $3,360.84 annually, with funding from the Parks and Recreation operating budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Lehman, Parks and Recreation. The item before you today is a request to add cellular service to iPads and also to add a Wi-Fi hotspot. As we've rolled out iPads throughout our department, we've noticed improvements in terms of efficiencies, workflows, processes, and accessibilities. We would like to continue to capitalize on that with new incoming staff. And the hotspot, we've started having more meetings hosted in locations that don't have access to network. So having a Wi-Fi hotspot would enable us to access internet and other items that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions regarding this item?
I'll move approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you very much.
Our next item.
Item B2, consider approval of request to transfer the balance of the Parks and Recreation 2018 operating budget to the Parks and Recreation Building Maintenance 3R Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. This request is, just like the clerk said, any leftover funds at the end of this year. I've been visiting with Betty Greiner about this. We'd like to transfer those funds to the Building Maintenance or 3R Fund to continue our work on deferred maintenance, those type of things. Right now, we're kind of estimating somewhere around 2.5% of the budget being left over.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B3, consider approval of request to fill the position of Deputy Director at a higher salary, including benefits of $114,545.60.
Commissioners, both this item and the next one are two new employees. If you'll recall, a couple months ago, you allowed us to go out and search the market for some employees. We've had several rounds of interviews. These are very, very good candidates that we have a chance to get here. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on this and why we're paying them. In case they're watching, I'm paying them as little as I can and still get them here. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
John, you and I had an opportunity to speak before the meeting that the deputy director would actually be less than 10% of the difference between their salary and yours.
Correct.
Shawnee County has just, I guess, an informal rule that we've been following is that we try to have a 10% difference between a deputy director and a director. I mean, is this being done to try and enhance your salary?
Oh, absolutely not. This is just to get the candidate here. I do think it's also important that this candidate makes more than the employees that they'll be supervising. That's where this position is established at right now. It's near as doing math in my head, it's very close to the 10%. I'm more than happy with this.
So this is being done to attract the best candidate?
Absolutely. But yeah, the deputy comes with about 25 years of experience. The park operations guy has about 15 years of experience. One of them is from Kansas. The other one is from out of state.
Right. Other questions for John on the deputy director?
I'll make a motion to approve, but I'm glad you pointed out that about the 10% is a goal that we have. And there are instances, and this is going to be one, where the 10% rule is, or goal is not in effect. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item B4, consider approval of request to fill the position of Park Operations Director at a higher salary, including benefits of $94,036.80.
You're just getting your walk in. That's good. That's healthy.
Yep.
We don't do them two at a time, John.
The other day, you guys had that 1 hour meeting where you stand up, and I wasn't here for that one, so I just
You laugh in. Yeah.
Commissioners, this is virtually the same request, but for the Park Operations Director, we'd like to extend the offer to this individual.
Any questions on this item? I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Our next item.
Item C, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of change order number 1 reflecting the actual quantities resulting in a decrease of $814,000 or $814 for the Southwest 109th Street over tributary to Wakarusa project with funding from the Special Bridge Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Courtney House, Director of Public Works and Solid Waste. This change order just reflects the difference between actual construction quantities and planned quantity. There was no change in unit price.
Any
question?
Any questions on this item?
Move to approve the change order.
Second.
Motion to approve the change order by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you. Our next item.
Item D, Sheriff's Office. Number 1, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding a contract C-417-2018 with Kyle Soldani to provide technical support as needed for emergencies, large projects, operation, and advanced training of Sheriff's Office personnel and partner agencies for the critical life safety P25 radio communication infrastructure, the county-wide radio system.
Good morning, Commissioners. Major Jason Mecca, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. Kyle Saldani has been a very valued employee for a number of years. He's a subject matter expert, and we want to retain his services, and this would be a modification of the existing contract.
Any questions for the Major on this item?
He's an employee?
He is a contracted employee.
Contractor.
Yes,
okay. I thought you
excuse me.
misspoke. Yeah, I'll move to acknowledge receipt.
Second.
Motion to acknowledge receipt by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item D2, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding renewal of a 2-year service contract, contract C418-2018, with investigator Rick Mills for pre-employment background investigations from January 1, 2019 through December 31st, 2020, at a rate of $300 per completed investigation and expenses not exceeding $100, with funding from the 2019 and 2020 budget funds.
Commissioners, Rick Mills has also been a contracted employee for a number of years. He's a retired police investigator, and we'd like to retain his services.
Any questions regarding this item? Commissioner Archer.
Do you know how much we've paid him so far this year?
Yes, Commissioner, approximately $17,700.
Wow.
61 backgrounds.
Okay. It's a pretty good gig. I'll acknowledge receipt of the correspondence.
Motion to acknowledge receipt by Commissioner Archer.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Before we go on to the next item, out of the 61 applicants, these are 61 applicants for positions.
Yes, that is correct.
It might be beneficial if we could, at some point in the future, have a breakdown of where we stand at the staffing, not just with the Sheriff's Office, but also with communications. And again, I don't want to delay us in this meeting, but just as we're on this item and we talk about the number of applicants and the process that it takes, I think it's important to note the cost of the county in hiring. So this is in a future meeting, if you can have that during a public presentation, that'd be great. Right.
I agree. Good idea.
Our next item, Madam Clerk.
Item D3, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding a renewal of a contract, contract C419-2018, with Bob Mosier for consulting services to assist the Sheriff's Office in complying with its policy and procedural obligations with funding from the 2019 budget funds.
Commissioners, again, a contract renewal. Mr. Mosier is a retired police administrator. He does consulting work. This provides another level of oversight to our agency.
I'll move to acknowledge receipt.
I'll second and ask, how much have we paid him this year?
$3,950, Commissioner.
Good deal. Thank you.
Motion to acknowledge receipt by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item D4, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding renewal of a contract, contract C420-2018, with Rick Kaladke for maintenance and groundskeeping at the training complex for 2019 at a rate of $1,800 per month, with funding from the 2019 budget funds.
Commissioners, again, another contract renewal. As you may or may not know, Rick Gladkey has been our groundskeeper out there since the inception of the BARTA training complex, and we would like to retain his services.
Questions regarding this contract? Motion.
Do you know how many hours he spends out there every month?
Monthly,
Yeah, what, on an hourly basis we're paying?
You know, I don't know the answer to that on the hourly wage. It's just $1,800 per month.
Right.
He's out there virtually every single day.
For 8 hours?
Probably
8 hours
not
a day?
necessarily 8 hours a day, but he is Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekends. Our range is open, not just to our employees, but to outside agencies as well. And Rick is geographically at an advantage. He's located very close nearby, and at a moment's notice, he will drive there, and whatever it takes, he can get the systems up and running. Certainly unlocks and closes the facility. He does all the cleanup and all the maintenance, whether it's snow removal or groundskeeping. And it's basically every day. But no, to say 8 hours a day, that is not factual.
I'll move to acknowledge receipt.
I'll second.
Motion to acknowledge receipt by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item D5, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding renewal of a contract, contract C421-2018, with Cox Business Systems for cable service in 2019 at a cost of $281.79 per month, for a total of $3,381.48 annually, with funding for the 2019 budget funds.
Commissioners, again, another contract renewal. You have any questions?
Any questions on this item?
I'll move to acknowledge receipt.
Motion to acknowledge receipt by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item D6, consider approval of request to create a job ledger to be utilized to fund the replacement of mobile data terminals and mounting systems at an approximate cost of $400,000 by the end of 2020, and to transfer $100,000 from the 2018 budget into a job ledger.
Commissioners, let me preface this explanation by saying that our accounting and services unit has reached out to Ms. Greiner in regards to this. And basically what we're asking to do is create this job ledger in order to fund the MDTs. We had that on capital outlay this year, didn't get funded, but if we could sock away some money each year, then that would help offset the cost, and it would be paid out of budgeted funds. We do understand that we need to get your approval annually to put money into this job ledger. But that's what we're asking to do. We think it's going to be a good business practice for our strategic operations plan, and we'd like to start with this.
I'll move approval.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So the intent is to transfer $100,000 from the 2018 budget of the sheriff.
Correct.
And then over the years of 2019, have come up with the rest of the money, or can you explain?
Yeah, sure. So basically next year in 2019, if we have $100,000 to put into this fund, then we would request that we be able to do that, which would bring us up to $200,000. And then in 2020, do the same. And then that way we could be closer to offsetting the entire cost with just budgeted funds. So each year, if we have $100,000 to put in this, that's what we'd like to do.
Well, if your intent is to have $400,000 by year 2020, you would only have $200,000 by 2020. It leaves you $200,000 short. If I'm not a math whiz, but
No, that would be
1 + 1 = 2.
Okay, so I'm counting $300,000. If we have $100,000 this year, $100,000 next year, and $100,000 in 2020, the purchase would be made in 2021, which is when the refresh actually needs to take place. So subsequently, we're saying $400,000 in case the price goes up, because as we know, technology, the price increases exponentially. But that is just our best guess at this point, Commissioner. It just seems like it would be a good business practice to try to do this with our own budgeted money, and try to, maybe next year in 2019, we asked to put 150 in there. It's not well articulated on here, so I believe it's a little confusing, but I have a very, very reliable source here that can speak on my benefit. So, go ahead.
Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services. Just to clarify, right now, what the approval that they are requesting is to transfer $100,000 of this year's budget, of 2018's budget, into a project fund. Now, the ultimate, he was talking about what their ultimate goal is, and that will, be determined later or modified or whatever, but the request today is to transfer $100,000 from this year's budget to a project budget for this purpose.
Any questions for the Major or for Betty on this item? Motion made by Commissioner Bueller. I will second, but we need to really look at how we're addressing the capital needs, not just for the Sheriff's Office, but for all departments. I think we sometimes kind of address it haphazardly. We've gotten better or more refined over the years, but it's an uneven approach. And so I think that it does need more refinement in addressing capital needs. So, motion made by Commissioner Bueller, second by Commissioner Cook. Any other comments? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item D7, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding a lease agreement, contract C422-2018, with Canon Solutions America to pay monthly lease payments of $1,890 versus an annual payment for the period of January 2019 through March 2024 with funding from the 2019 budget.
Commissioners, this contract was renegotiated this year, which Canon did agree to add another printer. It's a copy machine, which we did put out at our BARDA complex, which did not have one. And so this has been A good change for us. Any questions?
Any questions regarding this item?
Move to acknowledge receipt.
I'll second.
Motion to acknowledge receipt by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Our next item.
Item 5, administrative communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectre Venue Management in the Kansas Expo Center. Wanted to update you on a couple events that we've had over the last couple of weeks. So first one, Mannheim Steamroller. We had that a week ago, a week and 3 days ago now. And that event did exceptionally well. We budgeted to make net cash revenues on that event of $25,000. Net cash revenues on that event were actually significantly higher than that by about 31.5%. So very, very happy with the way that event performed and looking to get them back again very shortly. Wing Fling, we had that on Saturday. Wing Fling continues to be a great success for us at the facility. If you are familiar with the event, it's the 4th year that we've put on Wing Fling this year, and it's grown every year, and we've done quite a few different things to try and jazz it up a bit and offer some new opportunities for the community members that come out and enjoy that event. This year we had a beer garden that went over very well, I will tell you. So we will continue to do that as we move forward. And then this weekend we have the last homestand of the year for the Topeka Pilots hockey team. In an effort to, again, help them increase attendance and help build better business in the county for hockey, we're offering $2 beer, $2 sodas, and $2 popcorn all weekend long this weekend. So a great opportunity for some cheap, fun family entertainment right before Christmas. So.
Sounds great.
Kellen, I have a
Yeah.
question. So what was the sauce that was the hottest? Was it called like scorpion
You know,
sauce or
I didn't
something?
try that one, but the
I've heard about it. I've heard
the
about it.
Front Door Catering had one where you had to sign a waiver to eat the wing. I opted out and took the next step down from that. Call me a sissy if you'd like. I think I saved my taste buds for Sunday.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, there were some really hot ones out there. Even the not so hot ones were pretty hot. Yeah,
Good
it's
deal.
a fun event.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. Season's greetings from the Treasurer's Office. It's Christmas season as well as tax season. Taxes, the deadline is this Thursday, December the 20th for the first half. You can pay in person, by mail, or online. We don't process tax payments at the motor vehicle annex on 17th Street, but if you're paying by check, you can drop that payment and we will courier it down to the Treasurer's Office at the courthouse. So remember, Thursday, like to see your face. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Archer, anything?
I just wanted to recognize Mayor De La Isla and thank her. Yesterday afternoon, she and a number of community members of all ages came by my house and started singing Christmas carols. And it was very touching, and I sincerely appreciate the spirit of the season. Thank you, Mayor. That's it.
Commissioner Bueller?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Likewise, I wish to thank the mayor and her singing crew for coming by. It was a very nice touch on a Sunday afternoon. So, our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
There is a need for an executive session. There are 4 items. The first is personnel matters of non-elected personnel to discuss an interim planning director for a period of 5 minutes. Personnel matters of a non-elected personnel regarding the job description and salary of the executive assistant of the county commission for a period of 5 minutes. Consultation with an attorney for the body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship to discuss the East Topeka Learning Center for a period of 10 minutes. and matters related to employee or employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with representative or representatives of the body or agency, to discuss the status of the contract negotiations with the Fraternal Order of Police for a period of 10 minutes, for a total of 30 minutes, and no action anticipated.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
That's all the schedules. I don't think we're gonna have snow for Christmas. They said- Well, they just said maybe if we got some, it might be a little bit on Christmas Eve, but I think they're just trying to make everybody that wants snow, make it feel good, because I think it's gonna be 60 degrees. We won't get our snow till January, if then.
We've already had our snow.
Yeah, that's true.
There's still a little pile of snow right in my cul-de-sac.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
When I go up to my sisters or my kids, they have, well, it's starting to melt now.
Yeah.
But they have, but if, where is it? There's a, oh, the 21st and Fair Lawn. There's a great, they have, they clean it. I mean, this thing is as big as, it's taller than a tractor. It's gigantic. I looked over because it's all yucky looking. I'm thinking, what kind of construction are they doing here? Because it looks like cement by now. And it's snow. It was snow. That was like last Wednesday or something like that.
Yeah.
But do you have piles of snow out your area too?
No.
You don't clean them up already?
Yep. We take them inside the city and dump them in city park.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's how the 21st and Fairlawn parking lot got so full.
I'm kidding.
Yes, they are. They see them come in and it's now definitely running because as soon as they walk back in. She's a gal, but that's beside the point.
See ya.
Adios.
I asked him if he was being considered for planning commissioner. He said, or planning, he said, I'd like to plan. I like to kind of work off the cuff. I said, oh, really? We never would have guessed that. Okay, let's go ahead.
We are back from executive session. No action taken. We are adjourned.
Just signatures for you.
Yeah.
Just the
Nothing
sheriff,
else?
yeah.